They wouldn't. That's true.
What? How do you know? Maybe just haven't been covered by a television crew.
I'm teasing you, and you rose to the bait.
I love cats as well, and yes, they are very clever,
absolutely beautifully. Now, if you'd been Christmas shopping in Brighton yesterday, then you may have witnessed a rather unusual sight. A group of mums breastfeeding in the street.
They were protesting for the right to breastfeed in public after one of them was reduced to tears by customers in a cafe who criticised her for nursing her baby.
Now, the mum in question, Claire Jones-Hughes, joins us now. So what happened then? What was the incident that sparked this protest?
Well, I was feeding Callie on my own in a cafe that I go to very regularly to feed, and a group of customers that were together as they were leaving said, one of them made a point to tell me that she'd found it very unpleasant to watch me feed, and that I hadn't been discreet and I should have covered up more. And in my view, I was, so I defended myself, and which meant they all sort of joined in at that point and decided to tell me that, what I should have done. I used a towel to drape over me and things like that. So, yeah, it left me quite distraught, to say the least.
I mean, I can imagine it's horribly upsetting, but I suppose, with this you have to look at what they felt they'd experienced. So you might have thought you're being discreet, but how discreet were you? I mean, I don't suggest you breastfeed right now, but just give us a little bit of a demonstration of what you...
Yeah, I mean, basically what many women like me do is we layer up. So I've got a jumper on and another top on underneath, and then I would pull down the top and pull up the jumper and then make a little pocket so that you can then use, once you've got yourself the baby latched on.
So you couldn't see the breast, but you could perhaps see the baby latching onto the breast.
You probably would see that latching on and off, but I mean, like most women, I'm not so keen on showing all in public myself. So that it is a personal choice, and so I use the jumper to sort of surround once we're comfortable. And
I'm assuming you're not standing up.
No.
Announcing, saying, "This is listen, I'm just going to hoist my jumper up now, pull the arm down and do some breastfeeding." I mean, the whole thing's quite discreet. You want to draw attention to yourself breastfeeding anyway, do you?
Not really, no, because it's something where you need to be quite relaxed. You need, I was in there minding my own business, having a spot of breakfast, a coffee, and, with my baby just going about my business, I needed to feed her,
I mean, some people have to say don't like seeing breastfeeding in public. We've had lots of fours and support of you this morning. Here's a couple of not so keen. Amy Louise said breastfeeding shouldn't be done in public. It's a private thing. I wouldn't like to see it. Laura Bean Smith says there's nothing wrong with it. However, there can be times where a more private place would be appropriate. If you're in the middle of something where everyone's running around, then it isn't very comfortable. But I guess for you, part of the problem is there isn't always an option.
No, there isn't. There isn't. And I appreciate that people do have views about it, and I think many women do sort of like to be discreet for various reasons and out of consideration of other people. But the fact is that many of us lead very busy lives. I have another 3-year-old child, and I can't always choose when I want to feed my baby. And would you like to hear my baby scream and cry? I don't think that's very nice.
And there is a negative to this, of course, isn't there? Which you're obviously quite a strong person, but some people might be so put off by this incident that they give up breastfeeding, which we know isn't good for the baby.
Yeah, I mean, with my first child, I was definitely very nervous, and I could say it definitely had an impact on how successful we were with breastfeeding. So that was the reason for yesterday, was to give women confidence. And
the good news is that proprietors and managers of a lot of establishments like the one you frequent are absolutely fine with it all. So,
yeah, keep letting us know what you think, though. It's an interesting debate. Thanks very much. And she's obviously gorgeous. She's kind of stolen the show a bit, I'm afraid, grinning at the camera while we've been chattering away. But she is the reason that we're talking about it all in the first place, so that's fine. Lovely to speak to you this morning. Still to come on Daybreak. Martin Lewis is here with his essential online shopping tips for those of you who've left getting your presents to the last minute. And that's something I don't really like seeing in public, frankly. Put it away,
Try the
Martin.
red ones.